Well, hello everyone. Here talking about right here is a song right here that this right here, this painting right here, is to say that drawing painting right here that it introduces like to a library, and most library locations will be a place where a lot of everybody would be able to. I say that that would be a place where a lot of people would meet a lot of their classmates, a lot of their friends and groups, or anybody that like when you're reading books, and then based on any source of book title that you would think that you'll be able to find at the library location. And this right here is a song that I wrote a few years ago about connecting with classmates right here, and basically how does the song goes? It goes by it says like an for what you could say for what you can remember so far as connecting with our classmates. So yeah, that talk about your favorite subjects, or could also be talk about maybe your favorite book, nonfiction book, or maybe catalog or something like that. It could be also be testing. I know that some students that might even say too that you really who they would maybe ask that who would write a song about tests. If it's test scores, or maybe if it's math testing or the science project test or something like that. But let's just say the song goes by as to where the best from what I can remember about what the teacher said that I used to always think is to where that the easy to remember notes before before the hourly quiz. The hourly quiz that I would think that I would get 10 or 15 right on the quiz or something like that, and so you would maybe write a song about as to where that a moment just to remember about to where that whenever you do see that whenever you do look at the test, and it's a lot of times so that whenever you're looking at a test that there's a lot of questions that you can remember, and just think about as to where that really though, if you would be writing a song about tests, and then it would maybe be like say multiple choice this. It's like I got it, huh? I got it. But anyway, I know that a lot of times though that whenever you're going to be writing a song, you're going to be thinking about connection, love, or anything about which call for what makes you the which called the known rock star. But anyway, because I say is to where that I know and what you're going to say in our moment, and so yeah, that it goes by saying is to with the song right here to where they think about you. There is something about us that makes us true, in the teacher and the class, the subjects we think about. That reminds us a lot of getting to know the class as well. So I say, I know, the classroom, I know, in the cafeteria, I know, but in the gym, I know, in the classroom, I know, and there's something about us that makes us true. And so yeah, that whenever I was thinking about this song here, I was also thinking about is to where that if you're gonna be pretty shy, and that whenever you're gonna be talking to other classmates, that the first thing that you really want to sing to them by is to where that you start connecting with some of those classmates, and you want to get into a conversation. Maybe one of those conversations is maybe going to be talk about maybe video games, or maybe your favorite subjects or something like that. But I know that musical instruments, and a few of my friends back in the day that that were in band class, and so it's like so yeah that band class that was like an event that was going on during certain time of the day, during during certain times of the class hours, that a few of those students that were in band class. So yeah, that meeting in the library, and I know that I could say that the library would be at one location to where that I would be talking to a lot of my classmates actually, and so yeah, whenever I would walk up to a few of those a few of the classmates, and want to say that what you gonna tell the teacher, and about the assignment, and about the quiz, and so yeah, that this right here will be example right here of me right here sitting one next to one of my classmates, and you can kind of see right here is that I would be maybe writing down notes, or maybe have a book, or maybe a few stack of papers right there, and let's just say that if you would be working on something there in the library, and you would have to maybe write a paper or two, but maybe about the book title and maybe anything else that you're studying about. And so the way I drew these right here is like talk about for classmates right here. And so yeah, that the book fairs and all that that took place were in the library, but still, as I say, it's like there's something that like someone like you to speak to, in a like reading in my mind about what I can imagine looking at the sky. So one way that I knew how to connect with other classmates was also about it's like to sing. I really did not really sing to them, but still that I would think is to where that just to make me feel not so shy as to where a lot of times that I would be daydreaming about a lot of things, and one of those things would be about is to where that getting to know a few of your classmates, and I would just look at them a lot of times and just smile and say hi. It's like look at them and smile, and then they would kind of like, they would look at me and smile, or sometimes it would be like, yeah, well, but still, I know that daydreaming, would make us feel, I think, a little bit more comfortable in the classroom, just to kind of get your mind off the stress and anxiety that goes on during the daily hours. And let's say if it was the early morning hours, and let's just say if you're in science class or an English class, and ways of how to connect with your classmates. So this song right here is mainly talking about, for classmates, about how other classmates get to know each other a little bit more. So yeah, that about each and every day that I would go into class, that going from class to class, and so it was like, yeah, you write a song, and it's like, say, I know, and look at the stars like this, and I would say it's like, for nothing I can say, nothing I can tell, nothing I can imagine of being with you, and so yeah, that wrote those song lyrics, but then also I came up with thinking about you and thinking about there's something about us that makes us true. The teacher in class, the subjects that I think about reminds me a lot of getting to know the class as well, and it's like making me think twice about my work that I do, even during those hardest moments. So exactly what does that mean? Well, that means though is to word that even though that if you might even think too is to word that if you needed extra attention, whenever you were in class, and I was one of those young classmates to where that whenever going from class to class, and a lot of the work that I was working on, and sometimes it sure seemed like that to where that you were not able to be there in class during time certain events that were going on, and with those events, it was also based on projects that other classmates were working on, and you were not able to attend some of those events just because that you had your schoolwork that you had to take that you had to work on. So yeah, I was from one class to another, and during the time, and so in order to be able to connect to other classmates, it sure seemed that way to where that you kind of had to talk about maybe something fun, maybe one of your favorite comic book publishers or something like that. But still though, besides yeah, for other ways of how you want to connect with your classmates. But did I really sing to one of these classmates? Like, no, not really. But still, that I know that like anybody would maybe ask me as to where that a lot of times that you talk to those classmates, but a lot of times I just looked at them and just smiled and said, "How's it going?" or something like that. I would not really ask them for like if they would like to meet me at the library, or maybe for a cup of coffee or something like that. I know nowadays that there might be some ladies that say even though if you're classmates with somebody nowadays, especially maybe in college, and then it's like say the stuff that you're not used to seeing, such as if they have a cup of coffee or something like that, or maybe a tablet, the electronic tablet or something like that on hand. But still, that so yeah, that whenever you're going to be connecting to with classmates, though, there are a lot of things that maybe that you're just not quite used to, and one of those things would maybe be is to where that whenever you're going to be talking to somebody who's in your class, then the first things first is to where that the teacher's going to maybe assign you work, and want to know just a little bit too, to where, yeah, that the teacher though, that the teacher had a problem with your paper, your assignment, but didn't have a problem with the other students, paper or assignment, and so it sure seemed that way to where that whenever you're talking to other classmates in school, that you're just like all the other classmates, that you work hard and you turn in your work on time and you're interacting with all your classmates. And but sometimes it sure seemed that way to where that anything that did go wrong during a time, and you likely say that, yeah, that whenever you're in class though, that it sure seemed that way to where that in order to be able to be a part of the class, part of the you say the whole group though, is to where if we're talking about maybe 8 or maybe 15 other classmates, in order to be able to feel a part of the class, that sure seemed that way to where that your grades had to be between 71% or higher. You had to be at least a C or a B or something like that, do very well on a spelling test. But then also, I'm like, yeah, improving on the grade. So another reason why I thought about writing this song was also about improvement of the grade scores, and as well as getting to know the teacher as well. So I know whenever I did write this song, it made me feel a little bit more comfortable while I was writing it, because it's like something nothing I can say, nothing I can do, nothing I can imagine of being with you. And so exactly what does that mean? Well, it basically means is to where that that whenever you're going to be getting to know the school, just so you get to know your classmates a little bit more, one thing that you try to set a goal for, and one of those would also be about is to where a talented skill, to where what I could show the class that maybe a few of the other classmates had not seen before. One of those was my drawings. Yeah, I remember that one of my sketches actually in the history class. That I think that the teacher, I think she, one of the teachers is somebody, some of the work that I was working on that was based on a class assignment that I haven't seen it after I turned it in. So it's like so a lot of the work that I was working on, and if anybody that may want to word it, what does it usually mean whenever the teacher, grades your work but then does not give you the work back? A lot of times it's like, even for a portfolio. Even for a portfolio, since the 4th and 5th grade, that you got some teachers that don't give you your work back. They give you a grade for doing the work, but then they might not give you the work back. So it's like, that anything that you're going to be working on necessarily. So at the time, it sure seems that way to where that any source of a work that you're going to be working on, and one know that, oh, okay, with the work though, that with the work that whenever you hear back from the teacher, and the teacher's going to be great, especially. But anyway, nothing I can say, nothing I can do, nothing I can imagine of being with you, and so that basically means like, you got a special, like, talking to a few of your classmates, and you're also wondering too, as to where. Yeah, you talk to a few of your classmates, and the first thing that you're gonna maybe mention is to, hey, how's it going, or something like that. But still, that in the library, I know, and so that whenever you start a conversation with any of the ladies and any of your classmates, and you might think too, well, I really don't know, something to think about, or really that so you're trying to think of a topic that you want to talk about, but still that right here is like, I know, in the gym, I know, in the cafeteria, I know in the gym, I know in the classroom, I know, and there's something about us that makes us true. So I guess they say that I'm gonna say that there's something about us that makes us true. It's like an I know, in the cafeteria, I know, in the library, I know. In the gym, I know. On the playground, I know. And it goes like saying, it's like in the hallways, I know. And then during the field trips, I know. So I say, that knowing about what you know is like for something I can say and nothing I can do and something I can imagine of being with you. And so it goes like the song lyric.